Or when you're in 10th place, that's just a holding score, not one that will move her up in the standings. Oh, what a huge difference a year makes. And we'll be back with more of the McDonald's U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Seoul, Dick Enberg with Bart Connor and Mary Lou Retton. The summit in Houston from 11 times. And here that she is the star of the future, a determined 15-year-old from Northfield, Illinois, one of the many in the camp of Bella Caroli. Intense and focused is the way Caroli describes this young woman. And here is the second ball. Yeah, all right.
Nice hand placement on the horse. Straight body. Her legs are together this time. She tried so hard to stick it a little bit forward.
Phoebe Mills, a 9.85 on her second vault. So Mills moves into sole possession of first place with 3 events to go. Well, in any sport, just as it is difficult to give up the old-timer, the veteran, the star, so it is exciting to greet the new. And here she is, Brandy Johnson. Brandy, named by her parents after the song 15, 16 years ago. Brandy, you're a fine girl, and she is a fine young gymnast. She was the junior champion in Kansas City in the all-around last year. Again, from the Bella Caroli School. She's from Orlando, Florida. Will be a high school sophomore next year. And she is explosive, Mary Lou.
She really burst onto the senior level competition. She was a junior national champion, and now she is just hanging in there with the senior girls. And she is a vaulter.
Great speed.
Nice round backhanding layout full.
Terrific height for Brandy Johnson.
Not only height that Brandy gets, distance. Watch how far away from the horse she gets, and that's where you can determine your good vaulters and your great vaulters.
Well, you were a great vaulter, and maybe the reason why you're attracted to her is you find some similarities.
I may be a little biased, but we do sort of have the same body type. But she's a good vaulter.
9.85 on the first vault for Brandy Johnson. Tied for 5th coming into the optional rounds with Stacy Gunthorpe. Now her second vault.
A little shuffle of the feet, but she tried hard.
We'll see whether the judges scored that higher than a 9.85. Regardless, a good score for Johnson.
Good placement on the horse, straight body. You can see the little bitty hop at the end.
9.90 on the second vault for Brandy Johnson. So she continues to hold her position and may move up from the 5th spot. And a name and a pretty young face to remember. With dreams of a perfect 10, perhaps, let's look at the scores of the top performers after the first event of the Final Four in the optional round. Phoebe Mills in sole possession of first place. Hope Spivey second. Brandy Johnson leaps into the 3rd spot. And the veteran Kelly Garrison-Steeves is 4th. Rhonda Thane vaulting into the top 5 with that perfect 10. Do Yamashiro is 6th, and Christy Phillips moves up 1 notch to 9th after her floor exercise. And coming up from Houston, the second rotation, the beam, and we'll take a look at Hope Spivey. Welcome back. The best in the U.S. warming up for the second rotation. The 1988 National Championship is on the line. And this Houston crowd certainly is behind the comeback of Christy Phillips, now in 9th place. She, of course, trains here with Bella Caroli. She's on the vault, trying to improve upon her first vault score of 9.5, currently in 9th place.
It is much better. That's something about Christy Phillips. She makes the mistake, and she corrects it.
Something else about her, she is a gamer, as they say in other sports. She may not do well in practice, but she comes through in competition. She likes to work in front of the crowd.
I worked out with Chrissy for a couple years, and that's very true. She has a little trouble with her workouts, but she is a performer, and she works very well under pressure.
And she comes through on that second vault, a 9.70 for Christy Phillips. That might help her up another notch from 9th. A year ago, she was the toast of U.S. gymnastics. Christy Phillips, #1 in the all-around. It was a year of tumult for her. In Rotterdam, she was 45th in the world. In disappointment, she moved from Bella Caroli here in Houston to the West Coast, Olympic coach Don Peters, and then just shortly moved back here to Houston and is studying once again training with Caroli. Bella Caroli, a man who is controversial within his own ranks, and earlier in chatting with Bart Connor, offered us a startling statement.
Talking about the political side of things, I understand your role in Seoul is to be the chief of the delegation. Has that changed?
Yeah, it used to be till today noon when I resigned from that position. Due to consideration, I don't believe, I can help in a program and in a general situation where people are absolutely and uniquely running on their own private interest and not watching the general interest, which would be the high performance, helping the athletes, pushing the program forward as far as we can go.
Mike Jackie, the executive director of the U.S. Gymnastics Federation, then responded to the comments of Caroli.
Now, perhaps it's the emotion of the moment, but Bella just said he's not going to Seoul regardless.
Well, I was there, obviously, and I know it was the emotion of the moment. At the same time, I've got to talk to him. The Federation has to talk to him. The coaches know he needs to be involved. We need to have him involved. It's my intention to make sure it happens.
And the other coach in this formula, somewhat controversial and confusing, is the Olympic head coach, Don Peters.
Now, Mike Jackie just told us that he definitely wants Bella Caroli there. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think, he's a big part of our program. I think he should, be involved in everything that we do. I think it's, I don't really think any of this is really necessary.
What about Marta's involvement with the team?
Marta's a great coach. See, one of the reasons the reason I selected Marta as my assistant coach, as one of my assistants, is because I feel she's one of the best balance beam coaches in the world. And meets are won and lost on the balance beam. And when we get into Seoul, we will have been in it through a 5-week training period with the kids all together as a group. I need somebody that can keep those kids on that balance beam, and I really feel she's the right person to do that. And I think we're going to do a great job.
So Bella's wife, Marta, will be on the floor in Seoul, but Bella apparently will stay home. I find that incredible. The most powerful influence in women's gymnastics not going to the Olympics. Will he change his mind, Mary Lou?
No, Dick, I really don't. The only way I see Bella going is if Don Peters hands the job over to Bella. Hope Spivey currently in second place on that precarious piece of lumber, only 4 inches wide. Often the separator in these championships. Beam is the critical event. Hope had a little wobbly warm-up. She seems to be a little shaky in the routine. I think she's starting to feel the pressure. She seems a little rushed. She's not finishing her movements. And it's very difficult, especially on balance beam. When you wobble at the beginning of your routine, it seems like you shake throughout the whole routine. And believe me, those little bobbles can add up. Nice layout back somersault to a back handspring. She was supposed to have another skill after that. She was a little shaky. There it is.
Big baseball fan, loves the Mets. Darryl Strawberry and Gary Carter, her favorites.
A nice high double back somersault.
Hope Spivey. Here's Rhonda Fain on the uneven bars.
For as big of a body as Rhonda has, she can swing bars. Nice giant full, another giant full. It's a high reverse hack with the mixed grip.
She may be feeding off that 10 in the vault, moving her into the 5th spot.
Giant swing, another full pirouette. Double twist off. Little hop on the landing. Great routine.
We'll check Rhonda Fain's score, but first Hope Spivey sees that she earned a 9.50 on the beam. And now Rhonda Fain, after that 10 in the vault, a 9.75 in the unevens. Fain's teammate Phoebe Mills is in first place. She'll be on the unevens in the second rotation when we return to the McDonald U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Phoebe Mills, from that incredible family in the Chicago area, speed skating champions, a brother and a sister, and she herself a 500-meter champion in her earlier life, and now one of the world's top gymnasts.
Starts with a nice high reverse hecht. Another reverse hecht into a mixed grip. Phoebe's legs come apart just a little bit on her upswing for her handstand. Nice routine. I think it could have been performed a little bit better. Dismount was a little low.
But she, if disappointed at all, disguised it well with that smile.
Giant reverse hecht right over the bar. Notice her hands are mixed grip. Swings over the bar, nice and long.
Our unique camera angle to really be right up there with the gymnast.
I think you really get a good perspective of actually how much that bar actually bends.
And how thick it is. Small hands being such a handicap.
It's actually hollow fiberglass with a wood lamination around the top so that the chalk sticks to it.
And the score on the unevens, a 9.70 for Phoebe Mills, who will be in the 11th grade this fall. Her confidence really seems to be building. It appears that she's at that wonderful stage where she knows she's really good. On her second of 4 events, Brandy Johnson in 3rd place. It's the uneven bars. She needs a 9.75 to move into 2nd place. A relative unknown before this competition. She was in the juniors last year and finished number 1 in Kansas City, and now battling to make a huge splash here in Houston, Texas, Brandy Johnson.
She has such incredible upper body strength, and it shows. Her release moves are so high. She does a reverse hecht that's going to be coming up at the beginning of her routine. Here it comes. Watch how high. Way above the bar. Oh.
So there's 0.5 of a point off.
She had it at her fingertips and just missed it barely.
That's going to hurt her overall score and maybe defines why she's 15. But what a talent. The rest looked mighty solid.
And it was. That's got to be a disappointment for her.
Now, Bella Caroli, in essence, has this girl hiding a bit. And she's not unlike your story. We didn't know an awful lot about Mary Lou Retton before the Olympic Games. You didn't compete in some of the major championships. By design.
That's right. Bella, I think, in a sense, kept me in the closet, and it helped to my advantage. I went into the Olympics without competing in a world championship competition, was relatively an unknown gymnast on the international scene.
So the judges didn't know your strengths nor your weaknesses. You were a fresh new talent.
That's right. And one of my weaknesses was flexibility. And if they had seen me over the years, they would have looked for that and really critiqued me hard on that.
Brandy Johnson here is the negative in her routine.
She starts off with a nice high reverse hecht. Swings back, goes for a front somersault in between the bars. She had it and just fell off. She had it fingertips, and she was just reaching just a little bit too much.
And her score, oh my, 8.95. Of course, 5/10 of that coming on the major fault, the fall, but where did the judges find the rest of the deductions? All right, let's go to Kelly Garrison-Steeves, 4th place after the vault. She repeated this year, 1988, as the National Collegiate All-Around Champion. Quite a story. At 21 and married, she goes home after practice and shares household duties with her husband, Mark, while the rest of the young competitors go out to the ice cream parlor and try to decide, well, will it be bubble gum as our flavor today?
Starts with the straddle over. Nice high reverse hecht. To a delta. Giant swing, giant full. To a double pipe flyaway. Nice clean routine.
Kelly Garrison-Steeves, she needs a 9.65 to pass Brandy Johnson and regain her 3rd place position in the competition.
Reverse hecht. Nice catch. She was in perfect position to catch the bar. Right into a del check. Nice drop to the low bar. Kelly has good form on bars. You can see her legs don't split apart, as Hope Spivey's do. Again, that comes from experience. Nice height, double flyaway.
Just a little hop on the end, but Kelly Garrison-Steeves, consistent and solid. You know, she was happy with her performance. And the judges score it 9.75 for Kelly Garrison-Steeves. She moves back into 3rd place. And NBC SportsWorld continues with this major pre-Olympic competition from the summit in Houston with the 1988 Men's All-Around Championship. Earlier today in the men's competition, the leader after the compulsories was 23-year-old New Yorker Dan Hayden, Marine tough, former Arizona State star. Bart Connor, the top gymnast in the world all-arounds, was Hayden in Rotterdam.
Yeah, Dan was 22nd in Rotterdam, and one of the reasons why he didn't place higher, even though he had a great meet, was the fact that he didn't have enough difficulty in his floor routine and in his vault. And much of the reason for that, of course, is because he's had some serious ankle injuries and hasn't been able to beef up his tumbling skills. But you can see here as he finishes on floor, really good, strong punch. He seems to be very healthy and very confident right now.
Hayden's score typical of his performance throughout all 6 events, solid and consistent, never relinquishing the lead. Dan Hayden captures the 1988 National All-Around title. In 2nd behind Hayden, Kevin Davis from the University of Nebraska.
And Kevin has improved a great deal. I think he showed at this competition that he definitely deserves a spot on the '88 Olympic team. You can see in his high bar routine, he beefed up his difficulty with a move here called a one-armed Tkachev. A really nice combination. The Tkachev was invented by a Soviet gymnast. Really nice, clean lines, and a good rhythm to his exercise. He seems to have a nice, flowing look. He's doing all the difficulty, yet it doesn't look difficult. Beautiful laid-out double back. Great exercise.
21-year-old Davis hounded Hayden with his all-around talent, but could never catch the leader. Then there was high-flying Charlie Lakes from Southern California. He finished third.
And this is the only perspective to really get a good idea to see what Charlie Lakes is doing. He does the most complicated routine, and watch this release move. He's going to do a front flip or a Jaeger, and look at the height. He goes completely out of frame on this. Nobody in the world does it quite like that.
Lakes looking to become the first black to compete for the United States in the Olympic Games.
That's right, because back in 1980, Ron Gallimore made the team, but that, of course, was the year that we boycotted. Look at the beautiful line in the air on that layout double back.
Oh, my. No one more spectacular than Charlie Lakes. And then we had a relative youngster challenging for an Olympic spot, just 18, Lance Ringnold from Albuquerque. He finished in a tie for 6th.
And so many of us thought that even though Lance is a great young gymnast, that he could perhaps not be quite ready for 1988. He was going to be the new generation of U.S. gymnastics, although he proved here that he is really a contender for this year's team.
Ringnold scoring well on what was considered his weakest event, the rings.
He really shows a nice combination of excellent strength work as well as good swing, and that's difficult for an 18-year-old. You usually don't see very many 18-year-olds with that kind of upper body strength and that kind of control of the rings. Look at that dismount, laid out double back. A great young gymnast.
So can the Olympic rings be within his young grasp? So the United States all-around champion, 1988, Dan Hayden, former star at Arizona State. By the way, his twin brother Dennis finished 11th. The other top gymnast for the United States as we look ahead to the Olympics, Kevin Davis is second. Charlie Lakes finishes third. Davis's Nebraska teammate Tom Schlesinger tied with Curtis Holdsworth for 4th, and Lance Ringnold and Wes Suter shared 6th. And we also had a personal story of courage and triumph here in Houston. Last October, Tim Daggett shattered his right leg on a vault in the World Championships in Rotterdam. Many felt it was the end of his career. But this 1984 Olympian refuses to give up. He did not participate in the vault in these championships, but showed he is still a major factor in other events. Tim Daggett. Last up on the parallel bar.
There's a peach to a handstand. Now watch this, drop peach with a half to a handstand. That is so hard and so well done. Back upright straddle cut. After a giant straddle cut. Look at the nice rhythm. See, Tim has a good feel for pressing the handstand with a nice smooth rhythm and then banging a back toss 2 in a row right to the handstand. Now you know Tim's thinking this one right here. Splits handstand, here it comes. Tuck double back.
Oh my! Tim Daggett nails that dismount.
Look again, you can see he was good form in the air, but what's amazing about it is he knew exactly how to plant that landing so that he was able to land straight on top of his legs, not with any pressure on any one leg. He was right over the top of it, which of course makes it safe and clean.
It's a wonderful moment, and perhaps happiest of all is the athlete as he now waits for the score, which really is incidental. I mean, he satisfied himself that, at least for the parallel bars, that he could compete on an Olympic level, and that leg would take the jolt of all the force coming out of a difficult dismount.
And as you mentioned, Dick, Tim is taking event by event. He's got parallel bars, as you mentioned now. He's got parallel bars.
One judge gave him a 10 bar.
How about that?
We'll wait for the final 9.85 for Tim Daggett.
I never thought I'd ever have this feeling again in gymnastics. I've trained 17 years, and this is what it's all about, to go out in front of your peers and in front of the world and to perform well. It's a great feeling.
Well, with that great feeling and momentum carry over to the next event, the high bar and its capricious challenges.
Tim had to get by these 2 release moves, reverse heck to a Ginger, no problem. Now, of course, Tim can do the rest of this exercise in his sleep, so at this point, he's thinking dismount. He's going to have to do a laid-out double back.
And, of course, with the height and the rotation, how would that left leg hold up under the pressure?
Here we go. Not a problem for Tim Daggett. Can you believe that, Dick, after seeing him crush his leg just 8 months ago?
And then on to the pommel horse, event in which he has excelled.
Tim, of course, won the bronze in L.A. on this event, scoring a 10 in the finals, and he just rips through this routine. This, of course, is his best event.
Tim Daggett, 4 weeks to the Olympic trials, where all 100% of his scores will count toward making the 1988 Olympic team. If courage and persistence count, Tim Daggett will be wearing U.S. colors in Seoul. Back at the McDonald's U.S. Gymnastics Championships. 2 events down and 2 more rotations to go, and Phoebe Mills maintains her lead ahead of Kelly Garrison-Steeves on the strength of her bars performance. Moves into second place. Rhonda Fain, that's a bit of surprise, and her solid, consistent work moves her to third. Hope Spivey tied for first with Mills at the beginning of the optionals, falls to fourth. Hey, Shelley Stack, the little 15-year-old 74-pound dynamite, is now fifth. Do Yamashiro sixth, and Christy Phillips, moving up 1 notch with each rotation, is in 8th place. And on the vault, 17-year-old Stacy Gunthorpe, she is in 9th place, down from 5th after the compulsories. Her first vault was 9.8.
Oh, she nailed that landing.
Stacy Gunthorpe should move up with a fine score in the vault. We'll see whether or not the judges saw that better than 9.85.
You know, women gymnasts are a lot luckier than the men. We have 2 chances to nail that vault, and if the first one's off a little bit, we concentrate more on the second one to just nail it.
.90 for Stacy Gunthorpe, one of the top scorers of the day in the vault here in the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. Rhonda Fain's 10, the best of all so far. Now in the third event of the 4 in the optionals, and maintaining her lead throughout, Phoebe Mills with the one event that raises nightmares for every female gymnast, the balance beam. Watching her routine and training, warm-ups, she can be brilliant in this event.
Oh, she is excellent on balance beam. And if I had to pick one gymnast to perform balance beam in a pressure situation, Dick, Phoebe would be my pick. She is calm, cool, and collected. You can just see the confidence in her face when she gets up on the beam. She's really matured into a nice, long gymnast. Pretty elegant style.
Oh, that was outstanding.
Solid flip-flop, layout. The gymnast must perform a series tumbling skill, and that was Phoebe's. A very difficult one at that. Nice inverted flange.
And a nice sense of continuity about her performance.
Phoebe's very fluid on balance beam. It's the required full turn. Two solid gainer back layouts. And if you notice, she did one on each leg. Very difficult to do.
So there's a level of difficulty here, and an excellent performance thus far for Mills. Now the dismount.
Nice height, double back. Took a little step, but excellent routine.
Boy, if she'd have stuck that landing, Mary Lou, we were looking at something around a 9.9.
We're looking close to perfection on that particular routine. One gainer layout.
On the left foot.
And now she's going to do it on the right foot. That takes a combination of strength, coordination, and gut.
What happened on the dismount?
I thought she looked a little excited. She pulled it a little bit too far. She wanted to stick it too much. You can see she landed with her legs just a little bit too straight.
2 steps, that cost 0.2 of a point. And now the surprise. In fact, she's taken over Brandy Johnson's spot. Here's Shelley Stack. She has a wonderful innocence about her. 15 years old, only 74 pounds.
Did a nice high reverse hack. Shelley is so small that she can swing in between the bars without even having a body break.
Nice line.
Yes, she does. Something she's had to work on. Shelley used to have bad form. Nice. Stuck that landing cold.
Look at that face. Shelley Stack. It's the only person I've seen this week in Houston smaller than you, Mary Lou.
That she is, and I'm proud of that. She swings bars so nicely. For as little as she is, she does show a nice long line. Nice giant swing with a full pirouette to another giant for a dismount. A very high, kicked out double back flyaway.
Shelley Stack, look at those big brown eyes, and a 9.90 for Shelley Stack. She's already in 5th place. And with one event to go, this young lady may just join Phoebe Mills as the talk from Houston as they go to the Olympic trials in Salt Lake City. And Phoebe Mills with a 9.80. And if you consider 0.2 off her 2 steps on the dismount, that was as close to a perfect beam routine as you'll want to see.
She did that with close to perfection. It was the 2 steps on the dismount. Other than that, she was perfectly solid.
We'll return with more of the McDonald's U.S. Gymnastics Championships after this. The U.S. Championships as a prelude to the Olympic Games. Let's go back 4 years. 1984, a glorious gymnastic year in the Olympics for the United States. But prior to that, at the U.S. Championships, how did our 2 colleagues feel? Here's Bart Conner and Mary Lou Retton.
Mary Lou, looking towards this 1988 Olympic team, let's look back to 1984 and try and draw a parallel to where we were at this stage just prior to the Olympic Games. In my case, I was a complete mess. Back in the fall, I had torn my bicep just 5 months before this meet. I went into this competition, and halfway through, I landed on my head on floor exercise, and I had to scratch from the meet because I didn't want to carry a bad score in this competition to the final trials. I petitioned to the final trials and then counted 100% of my score at the final trials, and I just squeaked on to make the 6th place spot on the team. Now, in your case, it was a completely different ball game, wasn't it? You were really right on your game.
It certainly was. 1984, I was right on my peak. I was right on the roll. 1983, I was just in there. I wasn't where I really wanted to be, but I think I burst onto the scene and peaked just at the right time in 84 at the USA Championships. And then I think I carried that momentum on into the trials and through the Olympics.
So in a way, Mary Lou, if you could draw a parallel to the 84 team to the 88 team, you were sort of the Phoebe Mills, and I was the Tim Daggett.
To the music from Cats. And Kelly Garrison Steves concurrently on the beam, her strongest event.
Kelly is a beamer. Oh! Nice! Double back layout somersault.
There's 4 events going at the same time, and this is exactly the experience the fan has. Here are 2 women in their best event, and they're both at the same time, so you have to split your vision.
Hope's favorite event is floor, so she is feeling very comfortable, very good. Kelly, on the other hand, beam is a very pressured event.
She did score a perfect 10 in the NCAA competition earlier this year as she won the national title, collegiate title.
Nice cartwheel layout, step out. Kelly's one of those gymnasts that does every trick in the book. Very coordinated on a beam. Hope is going to be trying to finish with a full in-back somersault.
Wonderful dismount for Kelly Garrison-Steeves. Double your pleasure. Hope Spivey and Kelly Garrison-Steeves on their best event, both performing magnificently.
Hope, for as small as she is, can get up there. Nice round off back handspring. High, full impact somersault. Look at the body position she is when she lands at the end of a routine. That shows what kind of shape she's in, the endurance that she has to be able to finish that strong.
Hope Spivey. That music from Cat seems so perfect for her. She's a feline in nature. And Kelly Garrison-Steeves, the veteran of 13 years competition, 9.90. Outstanding for Garrison-Steeves. That won't hurt her. She's in the runner-up position. And Hope Spivey will give you her score after we once again examine her dismount.
She nails this landing. Solid.
To complete that 9.90, and Hope Spivey, she's smiling as well because she scores a 9.80. 9.80 for Spivey after dropping out of first place to fourth. That's an outstanding number for her. After the compulsories, she was in 7th place. She's moved up to 3rd after her first 2 optional events, and now the balance beam for Rhonda Fain.
Rhonda is very consistent on balance beam. Always performs a solid routine. She's going to start out with a flip-flop, back layout. Oh!
Now the hands to the beam, how is that different from falling off?
It's just the same. When you touch the beam like that and she had to hold on and grab to fight to stay on, that's 5/10.
Well, she had hopes of something near perfect, but she'll not be close to 9.95 now.
But Rhonda is a competitor. She can shake that off and finish with a strong routine. She's not the type of gymnast that it bothers her. Just continue. She's still very fluid. Nice aerial walkover.
Being as tall as she is, 5'5", is that a disadvantage on the beam?
I don't think so. It looks better on balance beam to have a tall, elegant-looking gymnast rather than a shorter one. Then she's got the bigger body to deal with. Nice round-up double back dismount, hop in front. I think she's a little bit disappointed with that routine.
Rhonda Fain, she collects spoons. She says she has almost 50 now, and her favorite's from Holland because that's where she did best, 19th in the World Championships at Rotterdam.
She did the layout. You could see the left arm went across her body, caused her to lose balance. But she got it together. She got her focus. Nice high double back somersault, took a little hop on the ending. She's got one more event. Rhonda's strong enough that she can recover and perform a very nice floor routine.
After the 3rd rotation, 1 to go. Phoebe Mills in the lead. Kelly Garrison-Steeves 2nd. Hope Spivey 3rd. Shelley Stack, the surprising 4th. Rhonda Fain 5th. Stacy Gunthorpe 6th. And Christy Phillips drops to 10th place. Randy Johnson still trying to recover from that disappointing uneven bars performance, but an opportunity yet to finish in the final 6. Her final event, the floor.
And she is finishing strong. This is, of course, one of Brandy's stronger events. Watch this first tumbling pass. Full impact
the background.
The height she gets on that pass was a round-off back handspring whip back into a double back somersault. There's just no comparison, the height that Brandy Johnson gets.
And there's a pace and continuity as well, Mary Lou. Just no hesitation from one to the next element.
She's taking a breather. She's going to try and end with a full in-back somersault.
That was a good one. Oh, my God. That was a good one. That was a good one. No, I'm proud of you, no. Good job, little buddy. As the song goes, Brandy, you're a fine girl. And that was a fine floor exercise.
Speed, the power, the height. This first tumbling pass laid out to a great lane. And she almost landed that standing straight up. Now, this is a very difficult pass to end with. The endurance that she has, she does it easy.
Well, but for the 0.5 of a point that she lost on the uneven bars, Brandy Johnson would be in the top 5. We await her score. And it's a good one. 9.80 for Brandy Johnson on the floor. Currently in second place, Kelly Garrison-Steeves at 21. That doesn't sound old, but that makes her 3 years older than anyone else that is in contention. The top 10 in these U.S. Gymnastics Championships. And her final event, the floor.
Kelly's trying some new tumbling passes today. The more difficult ones. I think she and her coaches got together and say, hey, listen, I need to put more difficulty in my routines. Start with a nice triple full. Form was a little off. Her legs were apart.
Bart, you were by 3 years the oldest on our U.S. Olympic team in '84.
So I know she probably hurts a lot right now. It takes a couple of aspirin before she performs. But actually, I've been so impressed with how well she's done in this championships because she's been through this baby before. And yet, look at that. 1.5 threw it to a tuck double. She did go out of bounds, but that's a nice tumbling pass.
They call her Mother Hen, don't they, Mary Lou?
They certainly do. She is the veteran of the sport. She's been in the sport for a very long time at such a high level, and that's so hard to do.
Remember, Kathy Johnson was 24 in the games in Los Angeles, so she was certainly the old lady of U.S. gymnastics.
Yeah, we called Kathy old grandma. Nice high double back somersault to end it.
Kelly Garrison-Steeves from the University of Oklahoma, the national collegiate champion the last 2 years. Let's go back and as she gets an embrace from her coach, Becky Buick, take another look. Did she go out of bounds here? Her second pass.
Yeah, this is the 1.5 twist step out to the round-off flip-flop tuck double back. Good high reach, but she definitely over-rotated a little bit, and of course, that step back out of bounds will be 1/10 of a point.
And at this point, every 10th counts.
But happy that her optional rounds are finished. A 9.60. Kelly Garrison-Steeves looks as if that'll be good enough for second place. Back at the summit for the final optional rotation, Hope Spivey up. This is her second vault. She scored 9.75 on the first.
A beautiful round-off back handspring layout with a full twist. This apparatus, the vault, is one of Hope's stronger events. She doesn't really do a huge vault, but she does a good vault.
Spivey started today tied with Phoebe Mills for first place, fell to fourth. after the bars and beam. But that floor score of 9.8 pushed her back up to third, and now we await the vault judging. What do you think, Mary Lou?
I think she's going to score well on this. Her second vault was better than her first. But that big hop, the judges are going to take at least 1 to 2 tenths because it really was a pretty big
And that's your team number.
9.80, so she does improve on the second vault. Hope Spivey currently in third place. Christy Phillips started in 10th place after the compulsories, and this her final rotation in the optional. She is in 10th place. The beam, of course, one of the events where she has a special move.
Watch this mount. She's going to put her feet in between her hands. Such flexibility. She's got an incredible back. Starts out with a round-off layout. Solid. This is Christy's event. She is a performer on balance beam. She moves with such ease. Back straddle down. Nice pose, again showing more flexibility. One of her best features. Now watch this move. She does a planche, and then the move, which is called the Phillips.
Anatomically impossible, I would say.
Yeah. Although in the move, she really didn't perform it as well as she used to. Before, her head almost touched her bottom. In fact, in some cases, it did. So you can see she's lost a little bit of that flexibility in her back. She's getting ready for her dismount. Round off, back handspring, double pike. Stop landing.
Well, she's finished with a flourish, Christy Phillips. Golly, that was good. That was good. Now, when you consider she left for the West Coast, she admits that she wasn't conditioning herself as she should. She gained a lot of weight, came back to Caroli. They've really had her on a heavy diet as we watch her again, that flexibility move.
Look at that mount. Her back is like a complete O. Hands on the beam and feet on the beam at the same time.
This is the Phillips.
Certainly is. You can see that she has lost flexibility. Her bottom was a lot closer to her head last year. So she has lost quite a bit of her flexibility in her back.
Take points off just because she can still do something that maybe a lot of others can't. Her score is being posted now. She waits anxiously. And apparently the audience doesn't like the score. You hear the first time a reaction, a negative reaction. 9.80 for Christy Phillips in the beam. One judge gave her a perfect 10. But 9.80 the score for Christy Phillips. Well, Marta and Bella Caroli not happy. They wanted more than the 9.80. We'll be back with more after this. Here's the 14-year-old Shelley Stack. She'll turn 15 at the end of this month of July. She is currently a surprising fourth.
Nice inverted planche. If Shelley makes this beam herself, and her coach, Marta Caroli, will be happy. This is one of Shelley's weaker events. She's had a lot of trouble with consistency on balance beam. just because she's young and she doesn't have her focus and her concentration all together.
One of the youngest in the competition.
So back handspring, layout. You can see there's a little form break in her layout, but she nailed it. Little front handspring. Gainer back layout. Bent legs a little bit. She's still a little young and hasn't really developed the perfect form yet. Getting to the end of the balance beam for her dismount. A very high round-off double back somersault.
And look at that face. What a great smile. Shelley Stack. One of the many. Bella Caroli. His team has done brilliantly here in these championships.
You can see the bent legs in the back handspring layout step out. And that's something that Shelley's going to definitely have to work on for Olympic trials and going into the Olympics if she is on the team.
Phoebe Mills on the floor.
Starting out with this nice high pike forward back somersault. Phoebe has really opened up her personality on floor. She smiles a lot. She's more open, and that's what the crowd likes. To get involved, to clap. And that's something Phoebe has had to work on. She's a very closed person, and she kind of loses her focus if she kind of lets it out a little too much.
Yeah, this is totally effervescent thus far.
Second pass, round off with back, catching double bike somersault. All Phoebe has left is her dismount, which should be ending with a double pike somersault. To the corner, here she goes. Beautiful ending.
They're on their feet here at the summit, recognizing the young woman who has just clinched the U.S. Gymnastics Championship. All around, Phoebe Mills.
is a new champion. Good job there. You can wait for a wobbling there a little bit.
Things are looking very good for us. We have a new U.S. champion, Phoebe Mills, a well-deserved #1 spot for Phoebe. I really think the key to all of this is that we have some newcomers into the scene. Brandy Johnson, she had a few falls this competition, but managed to stay in 6th place. And a surprising little Shelley Stack. I think she surprised everyone in this competition. Watch for her.
And for the men, Bart, Dan Hayden, solid as a rock.
Yeah, Dan is so consistent, and I think when he's teamed up with Scott Johnson, who will be healthy for Seoul, I think that duo will really provide a lot of leadership for the U.S. team.
And the other 4 pieces in the pie?
Well, you can never count out Tim Daggett. He's surprised all of us here, and I think we were all impressed by how much he can handle, and he's coming back from that injury very well. We have a couple of youngsters. Lance Rignall looks very good. But I think the world gymnastics community will be very impressed with the improvement of the U.S. team that took 9th in the last 2 World Championships.
So as we say goodbye from the summit in Houston, Texas, we say so with some unfinished business. Bella Caroli, the top female gymnastic coach and program in the United States, and yet he's not going to Seoul. It's a reminder that in the sport of gymnastics that some of the egos still rank a perfect 10. And unfinished also the business for our champions, Dan Hayden and Phoebe Mills. For while they celebrate U.S. #1, it's still the Olympics ahead, and 60% of their score will be decided a month from now in Salt Lake City. And we're also left, as we say goodbye, with memories and visions of a man who personifies the Olympic spirit, Tim Daggett, reminding us all that the victory is in the challenge, the fight, not the final result.
This road was so long and winding. It was such a hard road, but we couldn't stop once we had started. We were always getting closer. Suddenly it happened. Suddenly it happened. Suddenly, a chance in a lifetime. Chance in a lifetime. Now we're gonna take it. We can make it. When you put your heart in it, it can take you anywhere. Who's to say that we can't make it? It's the same dream that we share. Keep on believing. Keep on believing. Keep on believing. When you put your heart in it, when you put your heart, it can take you anywhere. Who's to say that can't make it? It's the same dream that we share. When you put your heart in it, it can take you anywhere.
We now begin our 3.5-minute warm-up period.
This has been NBC's Sports World, and today it was brought to you by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste. By Tandy Computers, because there is no better value, only at Radio Shack. By Minolta Cameras and the new Maxim Series I, intelligent, ingenious, in a world by itself. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.